All right, let's get into it. Today we're taking a look at Zona Alpha. It's a tabletop skirmish game that's all about survival, salvage, and trying to make a buck in a gritty, post-apocalyptic Soviet-style exclusion zone. So we're slipping past the military cordon and heading straight into the action.
The game really doesn't waste any time pulling you right into its world. From the jump, it's basically asking you, are you brave enough or maybe just foolish enough to take a chance out here? This isn't about big armies clashing. It's about you, your small crew, and the tough choices you're going to have to make just to survive another day. The promise of riches, it's a strong pull. But the zone? Well, the zone doesn't forgive mistakes.
So, what's the core idea behind Zona Alpha? It's simple, really. Story comes first. This is not a game for people who want to crunch a ton of numbers and argue about, the exact stats of two different rifles. The rules are designed to be a streamlined toolbox. They're built specifically to create those dramatic, memorable stories that unfold right there on your table.
And to see just how that story-first approach works, we're going to follow a solo campaign from the rulebook called Operation Black Dawn. It's a perfect way to see how the game mechanics actually generate a really cool narrative from one mission to the next. So yeah, grab your gear. We're heading in.
Every good story needs a hook, right? And this campaign kicks off with a classic one, a desperate plea for help that's coming from deep inside the zone. It's an immediate call to action, and it forces you to start weighing the risks versus the rewards from the very first minute.
So this means you're not just wandering around aimlessly. The first mission, Distress Call, gives you a crystal clear objective. There's a fellow stalker. He's under fire from some bandits, and he's trapped in a busted-up vehicle right in the middle of the road. The stakes are high right away. You gotta save him before the bandits or whatever else is lurking out there finish the job.
But hold on. Before you can play the hero, you need a crew. And building your squad of survivors is the first big strategic choice you get to make. It all comes down to one key concept.
And that concept is called Krabrost, or just K for short. The best way to think of it is as your crew's total action pool for a turn. It's a budget of points that represents how many things your team can do, and you spend these points to actually hire the members of your squad.
And here's the trade-off. It's pretty straightforward. A cheap, one-point rookie, they only get one action per turn. A 2-point hardened survivor gets 2. And then you have the 3-point veteran. These are the absolute best, and they get a full 3 actions. And more actions mean more flexibility. We're talking moving, shooting, aiming, and reloading, maybe all in the same turn.
So here's the puzzle for you. Your starting crew gets a budget of 12K. Your leader is a veteran, so that costs 3 points right off the top, leaving you with 9. So what do? Do you hire 3 more elite veterans and make a small, deadly fire team? Or do you go for numbers? Maybe you grab a mix of hardened soldiers and a bunch of rookies to cover more ground. Your whole playstyle starts right here with this choice.
Okay, so your crew is assembled. You deploy at the edge of the road, and you start moving toward that distress call. And up ahead, you see them, the bandits, taking cover around that disabled vehicle. It's time for first contact.
Now, the combat system in this game is built to be fast. The attacker rolls a handful of dice based on their weapon's firepower, and they're trying to roll under their combat stat. For every successful hit, the defender gets a chance to roll an armor save to try and cancel out the damage. It's quick, it's intuitive, and it keeps the focus on the action, not on doing a bunch of math.
So after a pretty tense firefight, your crew manages to come out on top. The bandits are gone, and you pull the injured stalker out of the wreck. He tells you his name is Pavel, and, well, he's a lot more than just a survivor. He is the key to this entire campaign.
And this is really where Zona Alpha just shines. Finishing one mission successfully isn't just the end. It's actually the start of the next chapter. The story flows from one scenario into the next, all based on what you actually accomplished.
And what a story it is. Pavel tells you he was part of some scientific expedition led by this shady guy named G. Chelevek. After they mapped a route deep into the zone, they got betrayed. Turns out Chelevek is trying to bring some kind of dangerous biohazard into the heart of the zone. So Pavel offers you a deal. Help him get his revenge, save the zone, and you'll both get very rich. You in?
But of course, there's a catch. To track down this Chelevek character, you need the route data that Pavel hid on a flash drive. And where is it? Oh, it's tucked away in the very same bandit camp you just shot up. See, this is how the game creates its next objective organically. Mission 2, Find and Fetch, is now on the table.
So you can kind of see the pattern emerging here. This one campaign takes you on a whole journey across the zone, and each mission throws new challenges at you and keeps raising the stakes as you hunt down Chelevek.
Let's just quickly walk through the whole thing. You go from a simple rescue to a data retrieval, then to a desperate defense of a gas station, which is followed by a really tense vehicle escort mission, and it all builds to a final showdown to stop Chelovek's plan. And the variety in the missions is awesome. Mission 3 is your classic hold-the-line scenario. You're bunkered down, fighting off waves of enemies. But then Mission 4 completely flips the script. All of a sudden you're on the move, you're escorting this fragile jeep through a village that is crawling with mutants. It's a totally different tactical problem to solve.
So, after this quick tour through Operation Black Dawn, what's the big takeaway here? What makes Zona Alpha such a compelling and honestly replayable experience?
It really boils down to a few key things. What does this game ask of you as a player, and what does it actually give you back in return?
First, the rules are really straightforward. Like the book says, they're like an AK-47, rugged, reliable, and easy to use. Second, the narrative flavor is just incredible. It perfectly captures that whole STALKER or Metro 2033 vibe. Third, it's designed from the ground up for solo and co-op play, which is great because you can have an adventure anytime. And finally, and this is the most important part, it's all about your story. The rules are just a canvas for your crew's saga.
This quote, from the very end of the Black Dawn campaign, just nails the whole feel of the game. The wins, the losses, those really close calls, they create this personal history for your crew. These aren't epic, world-changing tales. They're gritty, personal stories about trying to survive against some pretty terrible odds.
Look, at the end of the day, Zona Alpha is a toolbox for creating your own adventures. It gives you the setting, the rules, and the dangers, but the narrative that comes out of it all, that's yours and yours alone. So, the zone is waiting. The only question left is, what story are you going to tell?